Good morning, Wareham. It is Monday, February 24th, and we have a great show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. This morning, learn about the upcoming free public programs hosted by the Wareham Land Trust. That will come up during our coffee segment chat. Also this morning, early primary voting started at 8:30 and will continue so until the end of the week. And Noah Wombat covered presidential candidate Bernie Sanders rally in Boston. We'll bring you that footage later on in the program. And also a look inside the state's hands-free law. We will learn what and what not to do. But first, I would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the morning show. So stay tuned because the news headlines and the weather report are next. Wareham Weekly newspaper was gracious enough to share the following stories with us. Doc McStuffins is in town. The famous veterinarian for stuffed animals and star of a Disney Channel show visited Best Friends Preschool in Wareham. The visitation was one of several free public events by the school this year. At the event, kids colored oversized Band-Aids to use on themselves, stuffed animals, enjoyed snacks, and got their faces painted. Each year, the Best Friends Preschool hosts a carnival in the fall and an Enchanted Village event in winter. In addition to Doc McStuffins, Dr. Seuss and Pete the cat also make yearly visits to the school. And the second annual YMCA Pool Parlor Plunge kicked off Saturday, February 21st. YMCA's aquatics coordinator, Danielle Gilmore, said that the hour-and-a-half-long event takes place during school vacation and helps to give families a break from winter by getting in the pool. To learn more about the programs at the Gleason Family YMCA, you can visit them online at ymcasouthcoast.org. And family sues the town of Bourne over the 2018 splash pad incident that severed a two-year-old toe. The incident occurred at Buzzards Bay Park. In addition to the town of Bourne, the family seeks restitution from companies involved in designing and building the park. Susan McDonald, the girl's mother, filed a complaint in Plymouth Superior Court requesting closer to $1 million for medical bills and for the traumatic amputation of her daughter's toe. The family's lawyer said although the young girl lost just a pinky toe, she struggles with typical play activities because of balance issues. The McDonald family seeks a jury trial for 6 counts against the defendants, arguing the owner of the park, the construction companies are responsible for building the park, and the town of Bourne were willful, wanton, and reckless in its conduct by not maintaining the slide or posting notification of its despair. And that story came from Cape Cod Times, not the Wareham Week newspaper. So credit to the Cape Cod Times. And that marks the end of our newscast this morning. Coming up is the weather forecast. A beautiful day out there, according to NPR this morning. It is the best day to play rookie, so I guess I'll be skipping out of here as soon as I'm done. High at 53 degrees this morning, winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, a few afternoon clouds and showers, low at 39 degrees. Tomorrow, a mixture of clouds and showers, high at 49 and low at 38. Northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Some clouds on Wednesday, occasional showers, rain showers in the afternoon, high near 45 degrees. Winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Rain at night with low at 39 degrees. Southeast winds at 10 to 25 miles per hour. Thursday, we should expect some rain showers in the morning, then partly cloudy in the afternoon. We're looking at 48 degrees for a high. Southwest winds at 25 to 35 miles per hour with higher wind gusts possible. A few clouds at night. We're looking at 26 degrees for a low. So a fantastic weekend there, except for those few occasional showers, but nothing to worry about. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to continue with more. All right, a quick correction there. Story number 3, the family who is suing the town of Bourne and other companies that were involved in the building of the Buzzards Bay Park. They are suing due to an incident regarding that severed a 2-year-old's toe. So, some notes there. Anyhow, we are going to move on with our program. And now we're going to take a look at Bernie Sanders' rally that took place in Boston. That was yesterday. And we had our producer, morning show producer, Noah Wambert, was there to cover the rally and hosted a couple of interviews with those involved. Take a look.
Noah Wumbold here, your friendly neighborhood WCTV employee, out from Wareham into the great city of Boston, Massachusetts. It is February 22nd, and we have here a rally for Bernie Sanders. It's the first time I've ever been to an event like this, so it should be fun. Let's see what happens.
This rally began right in front of the Massachusetts State House, garnering hundreds of Bernie supporters. We talked to one of the people who helped organize this event to get an idea of why people took to the streets.
So Genevieve Morse, I'm with Socialist Alternative. I'm also a member of the Massachusetts Teachers Association. I'm a career counselor at Middlesex Community College. I'm here today because my organization, Socialist Alternative, put this on. We're here because we believe in what Bernie's talking about, not just him as a person, but like the politics behind what he's talking about, that like he always says it's not me, us, and we believe that like things like Medicare for all, fighting for a Green New Deal, canceling student debt, all of those issues are key issues, not just for like somebody like myself, that I agree with all that, but for everybody, that there's a whole mood out there that people are sick and tired of like, you know, corporate domination of politics, corporate domination of our lives, you know, the role of the billionaire class and all that. We want Bernie to get elected. That's true. But we also think that it's going to take a powerful movement behind him to get things done. And even if he was to win, He's going to be swimming with sharks.
Genevieve took us to another member of her group. Drew, a college student, gave us some insight on what the goals of the afternoon were.
My name is Drew Bevis. I'm here from Boston. I'm part of Social Alternative, but also UMass Boston for Bernie. And we're here at the Rally and March for Bernie, both to win Massachusetts for Bernie, but also to show like what kind of movement it's going to take to actually win Bernie's program, because the things he's calling for, a Green New Deal, Medicare for All, are all incredibly important things, are all incredibly popular things, but they're also things that are going to take an incredible mass movement of working people to fight for, and we think this march today can be a starting point, a first point in that process. And we're also building for a mega canvas next Saturday that'll start right here at Park Street and go all over the city and talk to people in Massachusetts and Elizabeth Warren's home state why we think Bernie's the best choice for them.
As more and more people gathered, as one would expect, chants began to break out. Not everyone, however, was chanting in favor of Bernie Sanders.
Because I supported President Obama, who's given Social Security to legal immigrants.
Once the clock struck 1, leaders of the rally began to speak.
Teachers are the largest contributors to Bernie Sanders' campaign. Now, why is that? What do we know as educators about why it's important to vote for Bernie? Because Bernie has the strongest platform for public education. Number one. Educators, and he talks about increasing the minimum salary to $60,000 a year. He's not just putting that out there as some sort of bait to get your vote. He's putting it out there because he understands that workers require dignity and that fair compensation is a critical part of the dignity of all workers.
After speakers talked to the crowds in front of the State House, the mass of people began to march.
Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go!
They went down Winter Street, going past the Park Street and Downtown Crossing subway stations. The crowd continued their chants as they marched to the Bank of America Financial Center.
Bernie Sanders' movement and the fight for a Green New Deal are not politics as usual. This movement is about building a grassroots, unapologetic, working-class fight back, big and strong enough to challenge the most powerful institutions and corporations that human history has ever seen. The Republican establishment has moved far past the point of no return in their blind loyalty to Trump. And the Democratic establishment is scrambling and desperate to pick another corporate moderate to block Bernie Sanders again. This should serve as a wake-up call to working people the ruling elites in this country are starting to remember where power really comes from in society, and so should we.
One Bostonian, Rebecca, spoke to the crowds via the megaphone. We got a chance to talk to her and get her reasons on why she's out there.
So hi, my name's Rebecca. I live in Boston. I work as a waitress. And I'm out here today, the big rally and march for Bernie, because we need to fight for Medicare for all in this country. We need to fight for a Green New Deal. We need to cancel student debt. We need to really fight for a society that works for the vast majority of people. We need to fight the billionaire class, the massive corporations that, own so many of the resources in society, and really fight for a world that works for most of us.
So Rebecca, how do you think today went overall?
I thought it went great. I mean, I'm bad with estimating numbers, but there were a ton of people out who were really, really excited. And like Bernie is saying, it's not him, it's us. It's about this movement. And that's where change comes from. It's when people get organized, involved, they get out and are willing to fight, take the streets. And I think this was an amazing showing of the support that he has in Massachusetts. But beyond that, I mean, he's having rallies that are drawing 20,000 people across this country right now. People are extremely energized because there's finally a politician who's talking about the issues that affect working class people. And I think that this movement is what could get Bernie Sanders elected, and beyond that, what could fight for his bold program.
You can fill in your ballot for the primary elections soon. Tuesday, March 3rd is your chance to vote for any candidate if you're living in Massachusetts. So, if you're able to, be sure to go to the polls. If you're unable to get to the polls that day, early voting starts February 24th and lasts until February 28th. No questions asked. Reporting from Boston, this is Noah Wombolt signing off.
Great reporting there by Noah Wombolt. Thank you so much for attending that rally. Actually, it took place Saturday. Now hearing the date, not Sunday. Anyhow, early voting, as he stated, begins today. The doors will open at 8:30 this morning, and it will continue so until February 28th. This is this Friday. Anyhow, so now we're going to move on to our second program of the day. This one involves a brother and a sister who decided to give back to veterans in a unique way, helping them to connect with their dogs. They founded Finding You Sanctuary, a nonprofit that reduced the rate of canine euthanasia, improve coping skills of veterans with their new reality, and help manage the impact of PTSD, which ripples throughout our communities. So here is Finding You Sanctuary, the brother and a sister talking about the nonprofit, what it is, and what they have to offer.
Hi, I'm Lynn Carley. I am co-founder, chairman of the board, and lead behavior specialist.
Hi, I'm Chuck McStay, and I am also co-founder and president of the board and, executive director. So Finding You Sanctuary is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we're established in 2014. And we have three missions. One is to rescue dogs from euthanasia, and then to pair them with veterans with invisible wounds. And then a little further down the road, when those two core missions are accomplished, we'll be adding a third mission, which is to reach out to the local community and engage them in the process of the first two.
So my role in having the nonprofit and calling it Finding You Sanctuary is that it started all when the beginning of the war, and I just wanted so much to help dogs have a place to be when their veteran owners had to leave them, and have them there for when they came back.
So statistically, veterans, just in Massachusetts alone, there are 80,000 reported veterans with PTSD. Now that's not even PTS, that's just PTSD. Now that's estimated by the Veterans Association, or administration rather, as being a fraction, something like 10%. And so there's a lot of need out there for the veterans themselves. So we like to step up, and that's one of the reasons why we're working on with the veterans. Now, as far as rescue dogs, there are 3.3 million rescue dogs, or abandoned dogs. By the way, they're both abandoned, in essence. So the 3.3 million abandoned dogs, there's still 700,000 that are not rescued through the rescue community, which has really stepped up in the last 3 or 4 years. It has reduced that euthanasia rate from 3.3. Just a couple of years ago, it was 1.5. Now it's down to 0.7. So 700,000 dogs are still being euthanized that don't need to be, and we just want to play our role in that.
My method is more of a natural way of being with dogs, but I find that my method is more of showing the person how to be with their dog, which definitely, in order to have the dog do something you want it to do, which it's not agreeing to, you must do it yourself. If you want your dog not to be aggressive and bite people, you must become allowing and friendly around people. And the one thing I do find, and I even go through it myself, is when you're walking your dog, it's the biggest complaint I have. My dog is crazy on the leash, seems aggressive when I see people and their dogs. And so I walk with the person that's complaining about that. The first thing that comes out of their mouth is, look, here it comes, gonna have a problem. Here comes a dog and a person. And I say, smile at that person. Think to yourself, it's okay that they're out. Isn't it great that dog gets to be out too? Instead of, uh-oh, we have problems, we have dogs coming. It just means we need to learn to be, as we're going to eventually do, is have the community involved. And you must be open to having people in your lives, to have out there with you, walking with the dogs. The dogs love each other, but the aggression starts from anxiety, and we all have anxiety. And so that's what my method is, and it did not start out that way. It just started out helping veterans to connect with their dog, to watch, and then I can show them how they can watch their dog's behavior mimic theirs, or mirror it, as they say, and then I help them teach. After I've taught them that, then that's when you can start to heal your soul and your dogs at the same time, because that's opening up to the world.
Well, what we learned from Dr. Edward Tick, who is well known for taking veterans to Vietnam to meet their counterparts so that they can both heal together, was that there is a reciprocal social contract. We ask veterans to do terrible things in our name, to keep us safe, yes, and to keep freedom alive around the world. We need to help them prepare while they're in combat, and also support their family structure while they're there, because they're all left behind, and to fend for themselves. And then also to receive them back home after they've experienced these traumas. And so that's our reciprocal social contract with the veteran. Now with dogs, it's the same thing. We've domesticated them. We've asked them to not be so natural, to live in a setting that's not natural to them, to live outside of the natural pack mentality that they have. And so once we take over that responsibility, truly, then we are also engaging in that reciprocation, taking care of them. And that's why the rescue dog community has been so successful, is because people are really attaching themselves to it. And so we combine both, because they're both misunderstood and often abandoned, not just by their families, because they're just misunderstood. And so we put them together. Yeah.
This is ongoing for life. This is a lifelong thing that all of us should go through. We all have our issues, and that's what we found with veterans, was that we won't drop them. And their dogs will always, we can help them with their dogs when they need it.
That's why the sanctuary comes.
The sanctuary, yeah. Having them be able to have bad days and say, you need to take my dog, I'm having a rough day. Absolutely. And when you're ready, you can come back or stay here. And for us, the program is probably definitely for about 3 to 4 months. And we do put a lot of time into helping them learn structure, and then helping them move out of structure, because life isn't always structured. And once that happens, it doesn't stop.
We've developed a program. Lynn and I went through extensive research with the VA. We've been with VA counselors, and we've been with other nonprofits and their boards. And we've gone to generals.
Yes.
We've spoken with them directly. I've spoken with other countries. There was a colonel in another country, very familiar with our system, and also the rates of PTSD, PTS, and other types of inner wounds. The Finding You Sanctuary has a number of phases to go. We've done the development phase. We have the structural phase in place. We are a 501c3. We also have a 7-member board. We have standardized meetings, and we have a structure in place. We have an entire program, and all of that's set up and ready to go. What we now need to do is slowly increase the number of veterans that Lynn is able to work with. That's part of kind of a trial period where we work out the bugs in the program. Again, all this is free to all the veterans that participate. Right now we're looking for veterans with dogs that have challenges in their behavior. The reason for that is because our facility is not prepared for the rescuing of dogs, because that takes a great deal of care and time in order to be able to even prepare them and get them, gather them and prepare them. So the next phase would be develop the facility. We have a tremendous facility. Now our board has wisely asked, why this facility? Why not go out and find a new facility? Why not buy land and build a building and so on and so forth? So the reason that we're looking to use this facility is because this is Lynn's home. There's a caretaker, 24/7, present. Also, there's a kennel license already here. Try to get a kennel license out there. Also, buy land, build a building. So for a fraction of the cost and for a much shorter period of time in terms of turnaround, we can rehab structurally this building, set it up, fit it out, and then make it a place where Lynn's willing to give up some 80% of her property and her privacy in order to make this project happen and provide a sanctuary for both the rescue dogs and the veterans themselves. Right now, phase 1, we're looking to raise money to be able to provide Lynn with 2 main things. Number 1, time and focus. And number 2 is to have a vehicle that's reliable, that can get her to the veterans' homes, and also go with them and her pack dogs, because she does take pack animals as part of the process. So those are the 2 first things. That's about $50,000. So we're looking to raise that amount of money as soon as possible. Phase 2 is really, let's work on the facility. Once we get the facility ready, then we can bring the rescue dogs into the equation, which means we can bring veterans into the equation that don't have dogs. And then we can start to bring the community into the equation as well. That's more of about $250,000, somewhere in the 250 range, which also includes not only the structural aspect of the building and the fitting out, but also the exterior with the fencing, the yards, the play yards, the training yards, the seasonal indoor training that we have available, and so on. Meeting areas, and also it's just basically make this place functional so that we can serve as many as possible. Currently, Lynn is serving between 1 and 3 veterans a year. We'd like to step that up to between 40 and 60. We can do that after our first full year of operation. We could actually expand it beyond that, because we have an outside facility that will be a staging area for rescue dogs, which will maximize the quality and the selection of the dogs and the pairing with the veterans. So all of this is step by step. Our annual operating is estimated, when we're fully operational, to be somewhere around $750,000. And so that's what we're looking to do, and that's where we're looking to go.
It is the money holding us back. That is the bottom line. And I always hated that thought, but I'm just saying money's necessary. That's what makes things go. And so that is why we're doing this. We really would love to raise enough money to do the work, to get out there, to help veterans, to help dogs. That's just the bottom line, period. Money's important.
When a veteran first discovers that they have PTSD, it's a challenging time. It can be very extreme. That's not really a case for us to work with. That's where the VA is phenomenal. They come in, they take care of, in a triage kind of approach, the initial needs. Once that is done, and now they need a long period of time of stabilization. That's where we come in. we help them stabilize that part of it. We're not qualified to do those extreme cases. We're not looking to do that. But we are looking to do our part, which is small in some respects and large in the others. Because when a veteran first discovers that they have PTSD, the critical period of time is 4 years after they're out of the military. If they can stay alive that 4 years, then we've had a success rate. The suicide rate is tremendous within that 4-year period.
Come back. I hope you enjoyed both of those programs. You are watching Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather, traffic, and more information. And right now, we're going to dive into Today in History segment. So let's take a look at where we were today in history. Okay, on this day in presidential history, Andrew Johnson got impeached by the House of Representatives in 1868. Johnson was elected vice president in 1864, taking over as the president of the United States after Abraham Lincoln's assassination in 1865. Johnson had 11 separate articles against him in his impeachment trial, most of them revolving around Johnson's choice to remove Edwin Stanton from his position of Secretary of War. This violated the Tenure of Office Act, leading to impeachment by the House. Johnson was not convicted by the Senate for his crimes, therefore he remained in the office for the rest of his term. And also today in judicial history, the Supreme Court defends the people's right to satirize in 1988. The decision came as a result of a court case by Reverend Jerry Falwell, who sued a magazine by the name of Hustler for making fun of him in a raunchy article. The Reverend was able to successfully sue for libel in the lesser courts, but the Hustler magazine appealed to the Supreme Court, which ended up unanimously voting that the article fell under the First Amendment. Therefore, the Hustler magazine won the case. And now you can say anything you want to say to anybody, all thanks to this case. Or make fun of anybody, but not me. Anyhow, on this day in war history, ground troops were sent out in the Gulf of War in 1991 after Iraq invaded Kuwait. The year prior, the United States sent troops to defend Saudi Arabia. The UN gave the Iraqis a deadline to move all their troops out of Kuwait by January 15th of 1991. However, the Iraqis said heck to the no, and they stayed, triggering multiple nations to send attacks on their way. On February 24th, a massive number of soldiers were sent in on the ground, capturing 10,000 Iraqi troops. But by the week's end, the Iraqis retreated from Kuwait. And for today's birthday, shout out goes to Mike Lowell. The former third baseman for the Red Sox was born on this day in 1974 in Puerto Rico. Lowell is known for winning the World Series MVP in 2007 when the Red Sox won their second title of the 21st century. And also, according to Bob, happy birthday to our first ever president of these United States, who was born on what day, Bob? February 22nd. Which year, Bob?
17 something.
17 something. Shame on you, Bob. Happy birthday to everybody else celebrating the big day today, and that marks today in history segment. To learn more cool historical facts, you can go online under history.com. Stay with us. The coffee segment is next. But first, we have two things, okay? We need to learn about the hands-free law because Bob has been texting while driving. Thanks to him, we cannot use our phones in the cars anymore. If so, we'll be facing up to $500 worth of a fine starting April 1st, Fool's Day. But this ain't a joke. And we need to take a look at our weekly calendar in addition to our famous ad about our WCTV app. So Noah, do what you got to do. A new Massachusetts law demands complete attention while operating a motor vehicle. Any attempt to engage with your electronic devices, such as your cell phone, could cost you up to $500 in fine. Hands-free while driving. It is the law, and it starts today.
I'm a firm believer that this is going to help ultimately save lives.
The law was signed by Governor Charlie Baker on November 25th of 2019, stipulating that no motor vehicle driver should use any electronic device while driving unless the technology is in hands-free mode.
It's amazing how many people are on their phones when they go by.
Failure to obey the law could cost you hundreds of dollars.
It's going to be a primary motor vehicle stop, which means we don't have to stop a vehicle for something else, say for speeding, and then, have to then issue a citation for the speeding, and then also the fact that they were on their phone when they were seen speeding.
Furthermore, the law stipulates not to use your mobile phone even during a red light signal. It, however, allows the usage of your mobile during the case of an emergency. Pretty straightforward, right? But that was not the reality in passing this bill. The law took 10 years in compromises, victims' testimonials, and lots of advocacy.
There was pushback initially because of the cost of the hands-free technology, the Bluetooth. It was expensive, and a lot of legislators felt that this was unfair to expect all drivers to be mandated to use this equipment when they couldn't afford it.
One of the law's biggest criticism is the issue of racial profiling.
Police are required to collect data on the race, the age of the driver, I believe English proficiency, and maybe how long they've had their license. The Executive Office of Public Safety and Security is tasked with analyzing that data every year. So then if there is profiling happening, then people are aware of it. It can be monitored, it can be measured, and dealt with appropriately if it is a problem.
Texting while driving has become a major public safety concern in the country, with many young people and adults admitting that they do text while driving.
We call these crashes or collisions. They are not accidents. Like a true accident is a tree falling on a car in a lightning storm. So it's like, if somebody chooses to speed, that's a choice, and it has a consequence. It's the same thing with distracted driving and impaired driving. And I think the hard part with distracted driving is we're not there yet. It's not culturally unacceptable like drunk driving is. And I think we'll get there, but it's just, it still needs a lot of time and energy to put into educating people that this is not something that we should not be able to use our phones while operating a vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Although the law is active starting today, February 23rd, you shouldn't expect any citation until March 31st, when police officers will start issuing fines to those caught breaking the hands-free law. Reporting from Wareham Police Station, I am Queen Banda of WCTV.
Today's cell phones are not only an extension of our arms, but a life tool. Hello, I am Maureen Farrington from Advantage Custom Apps. I am here today to talk about a certain app, a tool that will help you navigate your way through the Wareham community. The WCTV app places your local community in the palm of your hand. The app is a place where you will find local events, town meetings, local and school sports, community interest stories, compelling interviews, and most of all, the ability to shop local. Connect to the Wareham app by going to your web browser and typing in wctv.app. And then, once you bring up the web link, you have the opportunity of adding WCTV's app to your home screen. Once you download the app and save it to your home screen, you will then have the opportunity to, with the touch of a finger, hit the call button, which we call WCTV, the refer us button. You can refer the app to your friends and families. There's a Facebook share button if you'd like to put that on your Facebook page as well. And here is the menu tab. On the menu tab, we have YouTube videos, new program proposal, events that WCTV is hosting, a photo gallery, contact button, and can lead you right to their website. We also have a shop local tab. When you touch on that, you'll see the local businesses that you can frequent. Also, there's an About Us tab telling you some information about WCTV, their hours and directions. This here will take you right to their Facebook page. There is a donate button if you would like to donate to WCTV, and a join button that will let you join their community. Many local establishments are listing their business on the WCTV app. And you can too. It's a great way to showcase your business to your existing customers and your potential new ones. For a nominal fee, you could list your business on the Shop Local tab as well. A percentage of that fee goes to fund a scholarship for an outgoing senior. So be in the now and get the WCTV app on your home screen.
Welcome to our coffee segment. With me is Mike Perrin, the Land Stewardship Coordinator for Wareham Land Trust, and Melissa Millett, Youth Education Coordinator. They're in studio today to talk about the many programs that some have already started and some about to start very soon, that are free for you. So all you have to do is just, I don't know, check their website and get off your house.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having us, Queen.
Thank you for being here. Yeah. So I know you want Melissa to do all the talking today. We got that established.
I was on last time.
You were on last time. But last time you did talk briefly off camera about your bird program, right?
That's right, yeah.
So tell us about that.
Sure. So I'll be hosting monthly bird walks with a theme that fits the birds that you can find of the month. So this month in February, we had winter waterfowl. So on the first Saturday and the third Wednesday, I lead bird walks from 9:30 to 11. The locations change depending on where we're going to see those birds. We hosted our most recent one was this Wednesday. We saw 19 different species. I think of those, there were 9 or 10 species that were duck, and we even saw one of my favorite winter residents called the horned grebe. It's a little football-shaped bird with a long neck and a very pointy, small, stubby bill. So that was pretty exciting for me. We had 5 people come on, and everyone was able to see those birds. Everyone was able to connect with the local ecology, learn something about ornithology, and just hang out, and it was very nice.
So you said what, an hour? How long?
An hour and a half.
An hour and a half of walking.
Yep.
So tell us about the nature of that walk. You stop every second. How do you help them to connect?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the ducks, each time it's going to be a little different. For the ducks, it was a lot of stop and go, stationary. So we would pick one location and we'd look at all the different flocks of ducks. Or the individual ducks that were out there. I bring a large lens camera so I can take photos of the individuals that we're seeing out there so people can really feel like they're getting a good look. And then for some of our, those were more, let's say, urban walks where we're out behind the Wareham Land Trust office on Main Street looking out at the marsh out there. But when we're walking through forests, it's a lot of stop and go, it's a lot of listening. So if you hear something, kind of stopping there, and being quiet and seeing if whatever's making that noise will come out for us.
Whatever's making that noise to come out for you. Okay.
Scary, right?
Yes. No, that's
especially when it's a little chickadee this big, yeah.
Okay, so they hear noise and then they say, what am I listening to?
Yeah.
And then you give them the entire background about that.
That's right. And lots of fun facts about birds, because birds are really such fascinating creatures that I can list off a bunch of trivia of them, and people seem to really engage with that. Yeah.
Well, give us a couple.
Sure.
Okay.
So I just mentioned the black-capped chickadee.
Yeah.
That is our Massachusetts state bird. And to bring back to the seasonality of the black-capped chickadee, they are these little tiny birds, not weighing more than maybe a dozen grams. And what they'll do is they'll actually enter torpor, which is, you can think of it as like half hibernation at night. So they go into half hibernation and shiver, and are kind of just frozen in time in the winter to keep warm. And they do this in big groups so that they can keep warm together, but they actually enter this state of hibernation. Chickadees will also grow their brains more than double their size going into the winter, so they can remember where they store all of their seeds, all of the food that they're going to have. And then come spring, their brain shrinks, and they get a little cuter and goofier again.
What?
Yeah. So come on my bird walks. There's lots of information like that.
Why is this privilege given to birds? Why can't my brain grow?
Evolution. Yeah.
What? We needed that.
You have the grocery store. The chickadee needs to remember what trees he cached the seeds in, right? Yeah.
Oh my goodness, very fascinating. So this is typical, you know, this kind of trivia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And connecting it to the time. Obviously, this is winter time, so the birds are acting a little differently than they would in the fall, spring, summer. They're really focused on survival.
Okay.
Yeah. So my next bird walk will be on March 7th, this next Saturday. And we will be looking at winter residents, so songbirds that come to your feeder during the winters or might hang out in those shrubby areas around your house.
Good. And also I had a question for you. How can people attract more birds?
Yeah, so you can put out bird feeders. Bird feeders are a big thing that can, it's kind of debated whether or not birds are actually helped by bird feeders in the winter, but it has been proven that it is supplemental food for them that's very easy to find. So they do have a little bit of an easier time when you put out the bird feeders. You can also plant native vegetation that the birds can actually eat the seeds, unlike our ornamental or maybe invasive species that the birds can't utilize as well as the native species.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to move to you, Melissa, the Youth Education Coordinator.
Yes.
I went to your LinkedIn profile. Let me follow in because I did.
Oh, gosh.
It's my business to snoop.
It's okay.
So Melissa has a Bachelor of Arts in International Relations, Economics, and Spanish in 2017. She's currently pursuing her Master's of Science in Environmental Policy and Management with a focus on natural resource management.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Fantastic. So Spanish to
Yeah, kind
Yeah,
of a
how-
strange switch over, but I have always had a huge passion for being outside and for the environment in general. So when I graduated undergrad, I wasn't exactly sure which direction I wanted to go, and I got more into leading nature tours, kayak tours, paddleboard tours, and I'm also a naturalist on a seal tour on Cape. So kind of got back into the environmental sphere and decided to pursue a master's.
Fantastic. Wow. It's not that easy. It's just to say, no, just decide to pursue a master's. Okay. Anyhow, so you run the youth education
Yes,
programs. A recent article, I believe, was under Wareham Week. They talked about the Wareham Land Trust Passport Program.
Yes, yeah.
Tell us about it.
So I launched the Passport program a few weeks ago. It is available through our Facebook or through our website. You can just download it right to your computer and print it out immediately. It just requires a double-sided printer. You can print black and white or color. And it just has a few different activities.